Episode 3 of Ready Up. Today I've got the balanced team with me. I've got John.
Hello?
I've got the other John.
Where's John?
And I've got...
You're welcome.
Keep moving.
Yeah, I'm Josh Davis, community coordinator. We've got Joy and Jarl here as well to keep with the J trend.
Yes. All of the names are Karl McLain. Start with J. I'm Roy Cronacher.
Joy.
Joy. Joy. Joy.
So yeah, it's been interesting trying to rub these guys together for the past like 10 minutes, get them all seated.
Yeah. Too much trolling in chat.
Yeah, too much trolling. Definitely from Roy, particularly.
From love. Or maybe not enough.
Anyways, guys,
So
we've got a lot of topics to talk about today. Some interesting stuff. I know you guys have been lighting up the forums with these concerns and whatnot. So we're just going to kick it right off. We're going to start off talking about crit damage.
Roy, you want to start us off?
Go for it, Roy. Sure. So, crit damage is a pretty big topic.
Tell
you
us,
guys
Roy.
Have seen on the forums. There's been huge threads that have broken out over it. Basically, we're making a pretty big change to crit damage. We're going to be adding a new stat to the game called ferocity. The stat's going to work much like how precision works with critical hit chance. So we're converting all gear, traits, that sort of stuff over to ferocity. When you put points in ferocity, it'll increase your critical damage, kind of like it does now, except it'll be using this new stat. It'll be using a new formula for the stat conversion, and then it will be slightly reduced because we know how strong berserker damage is right now in PvE, and it's a little bit out of control.
Not just berserker damage, but all crit damage in general.
Yeah.
It's a little bit over the top.
And there's some specifics about that I think Roy would like to get into.
Sure. So, one of the main problems right now with crit damage is the stat ratios compared to other stats are all over the place. For example, it's much more efficient to have rings, amulets, jewels, that sort of thing for your crit damage slot because you just get way more out of it. It's about 50% more efficient. So by doing this, we'll be able to normalize it with other stats. So each piece of gear is equal, and it's not more efficient to wear only accessories versus not wearing armor, things like that. In the reduction in the damage formula overall, on the high end, we're still playing with numbers, so we still have some tweaks to make, but we're looking at probably about a 10% reduction in damage for maxed out full DPS builds, just to bring it more down in line with what we want in the game, because we think the damage blows out way too much. This will also help us improve downscaling with crit damage, because right now it doesn't really work that well with the way it's currently set up. And it also leaves us open for the future for adding crit damage as a primary stat combo in a possible new stat set. For items though, what we did was setting ferocity equal to the secondary stat value of each item, because crit damage is the secondary stat on all stat sets right now. So say an item has 90 power, 60 precision, and whatever crit damage. The new ferocity stat would be set to 60, so that it's consistent with the item stat paradigm we have with everything else. For example, celestial stat combo, it would equal all the other stats on the set.
So now, Roy, will this change impact all aspects of the game uniformly, or will there actually be differences in different game types in relation to these crit damage changes?
Yeah. So, we felt like crit damage in PvP was actually in a really good spot since it's been balanced around that way. Crit damage is actually significantly lower in PvP right now, so we're aiming to not touch crit damage on the PvP stat sets at all. We want to keep it about the same spot.
There'll be some changes you'll see, but
there'll be
for the
very
most part,
minor changes on skills that we had to make. For example, Banner of Discipline or Lightning Hammer and things like that in order to balance it out for all game types.
The all-in crit damage build will end up at the same percent as it was before.
Sure.
And that'll be kind of like the baseline for how you'll get that much ferocity that will distribute based on that.
This will affect PvE, World v World, all that though, as well. We wanted to basically reduce it in an interesting way while making the stat more consistent with the stat paradigms for our gear, and we didn't want to reduce it too much because we know people invested a lot of time and effort into getting their gear, and we felt like we're reducing it enough to bring it slightly more in line, but we didn't want to hit it too hard for a bunch of reasons like that.
Also, this leaves us open to have ferocity as a primary stat in a future rune set or weapon set or something like that.
And I think like really important is time investment of for these berserkers are still going to be the highest DPS in the game.
So it's not like every set you had is just antiquated all of a sudden.
Right.
That's not what's going to happen.
And the best berserker stat is still going to be the best berserker stat. Like, so the best in slot items that had berserker are still going to be the best way to get that amount of damage. So those items are still going to be the best thing you can have if this is what you're going for.
If you're going for like physical DPS, you still will want to go for the same items, so you don't have to worry about that.
I guess the big thing is like we
band
know
that
that players put a lot of time into getting that gear, especially people who are getting their Ascended gear now. It's through all the Ascended crafting. Like we want to make sure that those, as you said before, like those gear sets are still extremely viable. And as John said, like best in slot. For those specific builds.
They're actually, and for DPS builds, they're still best in slot. We've talked about, and we've seen a lot of threads about how the only thing. This is not like the only thing that needs to happen, but we can't change everything at once.
Sure.
And this is kind of like the first corner of like those pieces making sense of, Condi builds being better in this situations, of creatures being more or less susceptible to active defense, specifically dodging, all these things. Like the first piece of this has to be this ferocity change, because the other pieces are going to require the impact that this has on the game and us fully understanding it before we can actually do anything with them.
Yeah.
Right.
This will also help make maybe support more viable and help us create more interesting encounters, things like that, because right now crit damage we feel like just blows out the damage way too much, and it has to be one of the first areas that we hit in order to properly balance everything else for the game.
Because in a lot of encounters too, and you've even seen this probably in the forums if you're watching, a lot of people feel like the best way to support your allies, instead of actually supporting them or controlling an enemy, just kill the thing that was trying to kill them. So a lot of times just kill the thing that was hurting them, and now you're supporting through, just killing everything. So in order to balance all those different roles, this is something that we had to do. So. All right.
Yeah, and as Roy said, the specific number, the conversion ratio is still kind of being played around with.
Sure.
Guess we'll have more info on that as we get closer to the patch.
Yeah, we'll have a blog post going out in the coming month or so.
More info soon.
Yep, explaining all the details about how this is going to work.
All right, so I guess we'll jump on to the next topic here.
Next topic is sigils.
Or
sigils?
Sigils.
I'm pretty sure it's sigils.
I like to call them
like
sigils. Yeah.
So, our sigils have changed slightly in their functionality. Since launch of the game, oftentimes you'll see people taking like a main hand weapon and an offhand weapon when they really wanted to take that two-handed weapon. Like elementalists will
Carl,
take.
what are you saying?
Will take a dagger and a focus, even if they wanted to use staff, because they get that on swap effect, and they have that duration increase, or they have the procs that they want. So, what we've done is we've opened up 2 sigil slots on two-handed weapons. This is going to be...
Just let it sink in for a minute.
So maybe some people don't know. Maybe they're just tuning in for the first time. Maybe they don't understand exactly what you're talking about. Could you maybe go through the system as it is and what we're changing?
So
just to be explicit, so how the sigils worked before?
The sigils before, you had one sigil that was... If you had a two-handed weapon, you had one sigil option for it. And it was really difficult to choose which one you wanted to do when you could just take 2 weapons and have 2 sigils.
Right.
So we've now opened that up for the two-handed weapons, and we're going to allow 2 sigils on your two-handed weapons. So, with that said, we've also previously had some odd rules with our sigils, and one of those rules being that if your sigil has a cooldown, that cooldown is shared with all other sigils. So if you have it on proc, like if you have your sigil of air, that sigil does when it procs, when it activates, you cannot activate any other sigil that has a
an
cooldown.
internal cooldown.
So like if you have on swap sigil of battle or another on crit like where you get quickness, that's a very long cooldown. They would not work together.
Yeah, they all shared cooldowns between all of them.
So, to remedy this and to make the system a lot clearer, we're changing the functionality of it so that there is so each sigil type has its own cooldown. Is type accurate? So
no, not even type.
No.
Each sigil
sigil itself.
Yeah. So let's just make an example.
clarify.
Like just so we all know, like you can use battle and energy together now. I don't know that there's much more that needs to be said than that.
But for instance, you cannot use 2 energies or 2 battles.
Yeah,
Okay,
they don't
Yes,
stack
you cannot.
with
So
themselves.
they cannot stack with themselves. So no 2 energies. I know you guys are all super excited, but no 2 energies.
Any of
But-
those sigils with an internal cooldown will stack with another sigil with an internal cooldown. So any combination of on swap or on proc will work together now.
And to compensate for this, there have been some significant changes to a lot of sigils out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
As you can imagine.
just so that
So there are
because some
changes.
of
We're
them
not
have
going to
very
get
high
into
power
every change
costs.
of every single one. One thing that I don't see it on our notes that we're going to say, but like there are some proc sigils that have turned to on hit.
Yep.
Well, let's not
few of
discuss
them.
which ones because it may change back. Like one of them changed back yesterday.
Sure.
But
Also, that might be something we could gather feedback around. I would say.
yes, like
Yep.
which
Yeah.
are good, which are good on hit sigils, which are good on crit sigils. On crit sigils, generally, them having a secondary RNG of percent chance on crit, we found to be fairly bad. So we're going to try and balance them around just on crit, just 100% chance, and you work the numbers around that. So those are all things that I'd love people to talk about on the forums following this thing.
Yeah, we'd love feedback on all of it.
Yeah. One of the things that is going to stay the same, like I know that with this news, you might think that the sigil of bloodlust and sigil of corruption will now stack together. This will not be the case. You are there for right now, staying as you can only have one stacking sigil type. So your bloodlust will stay the same, and you will not be able to equip more than one stacking sigil.
Someone just asked about 2 weapon swap ones. If they're different ones, they will both trigger on swap. Like I said, battle and energy.
If they're
That
the
seems,
same-
to me to be the
Doom and intelligence.
yeah. Tyler just answered in chat, but
But if you have like an energy on one side and an energy on the other side, they'll still share a cooldown.
correct.
I've been playing a battle hydromancy elementalist recently
Yeah.
internally.
What were you playing yesterday,
I
Roy?
was playing Battle Geomancy, Condi Engie. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good times.
I mean,
Also, I have tried but failed miserably to run fire and air, but I'm pretty sure that
On
there's
your
a version.
5 Signet Warrior.
There's a version of it that works. Yeah, fire and air. Someone just said it on chat, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a really great change. Even in the higher games that I spectate all the time, you'll still see players running 2 of the same sigils because they don't know. Like it's not communicated that well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hidden rules, and this is going to go a long way in clearing a lot of that up.
Yeah.
We wanted to make the system as simple as possible so players go in, it works how you think it should work, basically.
I'm not going to mention that last bullet point. It's not very interesting at all.
Okay. So
Yeah. Oh, you're right. You're right. It's not interesting,
It's not
and more
interesting.
importantly, it requires us talking in depth about a bunch of other stuff that
Yeah.
we aren't really sure about yet. So.
Alright, so sigils are changing. We can
Yeah.
also move on to something else which is very closely tied to sigils and how they work, which are
Runes. So, we've also done a huge pass, basically rebalancing all of the runes in the game. So one big thing was a lot of the rune sets weren't consistent and were kind of all over the place. So we aimed to make all the stats more consistent with stats, percentages, things like that. For example, at what percent does something proc when it hits you across all 4 piece bonuses or something like that. Things like that. What percentage of health triggers happen when you drop 2, things like that. Another big thing that we did with rune sets was a lot of the stat weights right now on live, you can run 2, 2, and 2 and get the most duration out of it, and there's not really any full duration sets, which was kind of weird because it seemed to promote a lot of mix and matching of a bunch of 2 sets was more effective than running a whole rune set. So we moved a lot of the stat weights towards the later bonuses, the 4, 5, and 6. But doing this, we also took into consideration that you won't be able to have like 2 and 2 and 2 for like might duration, for example. So we added a lot more Condi duration and boon duration to a specific set. I have a few examples just so you guys can get a general idea from our changes. So, superior rune of strength. So the first piece bonus will be 25 power. The second piece will be 10% might duration. The third will be 50 power. The fourth will be 15% might duration and 25% chance when struck to gain might for 10 seconds with the 10 second cooldown. Fifth piece bonus is 100 power, and sixth piece is 20% might, 5% damage while under the effect of might. So as you can see, like, as you can see, like, we added a lot more might duration to the set on the fourth and sixth piece bonuses to make up for the fact that you won't be able to mix and match as well, since the 2-piece bonuses only give 10% duration now. So we felt like we would add in more sets like this, where you take this set as like the might duration set, or this set as like the chill set, things like that. So
Keep
it's
in
more
mind,
direct.
these numbers are tentative, and they're not like.
Yeah.
This is an example.
Yes,
of the things that
and we think they're pretty
changed.
close. But
Yeah.
yeah. And the thing that, before we get too far away from runes, because I know Roy's talking about examples already, and before we get too far away from sigils, because I saw people talking about it in chat, like one of the biggest things of all this too is we had time now to look at all these things, and it's like there were a lot of problems with some of these sigils. Some are just where it's like, oh, this is just a hidden rule. But some of them were like, let's take an example like the rune of the ranger.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to use that as a good example, where the 6-point bonus didn't do anything.
Basically.
And that is not going to exist anymore either, which will be nice. That they will actually function.
Yeah, going through these, there was a lot of bugs with like specific durations, different procs, things like that, and we cleaned it up, most of them, so they should be a lot cleaner for you guys to play around with.
And just the same thing with the sigils. There's been like a good balance pass over a lot of them as well. Not going to mention specific ones, but some have different functionality or just reduced stats or increased depending on what it needed.
Yeah. And a lot of just like, hey, these are terrible, and so let's bring them to the place where like the ones that are good clearly are like within the game and working in the game. So we want the other ones that just aren't at that level to be, within striking range of that level, because that's going to open up a lot of builds, which is kind of the ultimate thing that we work towards is diversity.
Yeah, we realized a lot where we.
It's an old wooden
Hopefully
ship.
things are a lot more closer.
Let's move on.
All right, so next part here, I've seen people ask for this for ages. We're looking at adding new stat combinations to PvP. We're open to feedback on this, so I'm just going to start this out like, please post your thoughts on the forums, considering all of the combinations you can see in PvE.
Got quite a few.
There's a lot.
Yep. Yeah.
Some of them probably won't make it.
High chance. There's a very high chance that they will not all make it.
Yes.
Probably not dire.
Oh, spoiler alert. Sorry.
There's something caught on my throat or something.
Yeah.
But the reason for that too is like you just like with the runes and with the sigils, you get a lot of diversity if you have multiple options to pick from. So we do want to increase those, but we also don't want to introduce things that we think might just be too strong right off the bat, that might become the dominant predators or the apex predators of the world of the amulets. So we got to be careful with the stat combos and all that stuff.
And
But with that change, we are looking to increase the amount of build diversity in the game. It should open up a lot more builds that you can actually run in PvE, but you can't run in PvP because that stat set just isn't available to you.
Yep. Which is hard for some players. If they've been playing something for a long time in PvE, they want to have something similar come over to PvP, and sometimes that's not always possible. So we want to make that easier if we can.
And I think we said this is also true for sigils and runes.
Yeah.
Right. Like there are sigils and runes that are missing, and
Maybe we missed that.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
this
I
is
think
not
so.
just stat combos. Like there are sigils and runes that I think we'd like to bring over, as well.
Yeah, there's quite a few that aren't available in PvP right
Yeah.
now. And since we rebalance them in the balance pass, we aim to have them all be viable in PvP as well.
Yeah, sure. That's the hope.
All right. I mean, that's pretty much all we can say
Well,
about
we should
that.
talk about that second bullet point of the stat combos because I think it's important. I don't know if Roy mentioned that, but Chap.
Which one? Sorry.
It's new stat combos for PvP.
Yeah.
Bullet point 2.
Oh,
I'm gonna make you say it.
Will be unlockable. Unlockable. That's an interesting word. What do we want to say
so
about
like
being unlockable?
we introduce new skills and their skill point cost for them, and I think we would want to do the same thing. It's really an option shock thing more than anything. Is that if you actually go look through the drop down list now, you go to the vendor, and it's like the runes of what? Like there's just too many of them, and there's so many, and like it's okay that there's lots, and that's great. But like for new players, it's really important. I think that we, as we introduce new ones, we make them kind of do a little bit of work, and it's not a lot of work. We're not talking about this being painful.
Sure.
It's just more to like a speed bump. Like we need that barrier of just, hey, this is just too much, and so we're gonna slow it down.
It's kind of a catch-22.
So like someone said, 50 skill points. No, it's definitely not gonna be 50 skill points. that's funny.
That's pretty
though.
cheap. I mean,
Yeah,
I was thinking double that.
Yeah, 250 maybe.
maybe.
No, and so yeah, we're also account bound. Another point that we're definitely talking about, and this is not something that's just like going to appear magically. This may not even appear that these are available in the next build. This is Josh wanted to talk about this for future.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
What does that mean?
Okay.
But like, there's a chance that the next build is not going to have these unlocks in them. There's a chance.
Yeah.
Feature build.
The feature build. So.
All right. Well, I guess we will move on to the next. You got something else?
Just the forums, yeah. Just make sure that we've introduced a
Feedback.
the balance team. Like you've seen that
Yes.
on the professions area inside of the forums, you're going to see a new area that just talks about balance. And our goal for that, you guys have been doing an amazing job of just prefacing all of your posts with like PVE, World v World, you know, all or PvP. That really helps us to have just one spot to go to see everybody talking about these balance ideas and how they impact the game that you play. So instead of us going to the World v World forums or the individual class forums and then going to the PvP forums and then going to the general forums, this gives us one consolidated place where we can come and see what you guys are thinking. It also means that you guys are all talking among one another, so you're seeing what other people see when they play the game in their preferred game type. So it's good for you guys to kind of see what other people think about the game and how they view the game. So it's been good so far. Anyway, post there. It's good.
Do I have permission to proceed, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. So for I guess the next thing we'll do some high-level balance changes. The next feature build will include a balance pass,
Yes.
and I guess I'll let these guys just take it away since they're the ones who did the work on it.
And that's above and beyond the changes to ferocity, the changes to every rune, and the changes to every sigil. So
Yes.
keep in mind the impact that all those are going to have.
And this is not even close to everything.
Yep.
that we're doing.
There's more of this
Yes,
coming.
there's
This is
more
high
that we're
level,
not going to
but-
talk about in this stream.
Elementalist!
But for now, Elementalist.
Carly, the
Signet
savior.
of Restoration. We have unsplit it from its previous iteration in PvP. So now your sigil or signet of restoration will have the same healing potency as it does in PvP in PvP as it does in PvE. I am tongue twisted.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
That's why
Purple. Say purple. The Mesmer was wearing many shades of purple.
Red leather, yellow leather.
All right. Roy, go for it. Next one. I don't tongue twisted.
Sure. Side note on that change, we like to try and avoid splits between PvE and PvP when possible, and we just feel like Ellie's at a point where they can have this buff again to keep it consistent between game modes, because it does feel weird to be playing your PvE character going to PvP and have it work a bit differently. In this case, less healing per cast. So the next change will be Armor of Earth. We're reducing the recharge from 90 seconds to 75 seconds because we feel like it was a bit too long for their stability and protection. They were kind of lacking in an area. We hit them maybe a little bit too hard in previous patches and just want to shave a few things to try and bring them back in line with other professions, since we think they're at a close spot, but they do need a little bit of help.
Yeah, and with Cantrip Mastery, that'll come down a lot
that'll
further.
come down.
And I think there's also a bug fix in that'll make the trait actually have the correct cooldown for that as well. So another nice change there.
Yeah. Different fixes,
Also, I know Roy gave the example of the whichever runes, for all those speculating the market of superior rune of strength.
Yeah, don't
Like,
buy yet because
those are not
there's
the
a lot of
only runes.
changes.
I mean,
I'm gonna say this and then Roy's gonna tell me I'm wrong, but every single rune set changed a little bit.
yeah, all the rune sets,
just
basically
buy all
the
of them.
entire game
So yeah,
got changed.
I recommend buying every rune set.
Buy now.
Yeah, so just wait to see. I mean, like we balanced them so they're all relatively close now in power. So next LE change that's gonna be pretty big, we think, is adding 3 seconds of regeneration to Water Trident when it hits for up to 5 allies. This will give them a bit more support for Scepter and open them up to more Condi removal as well through traits.
Is that John or this John? Sorry, we're just
Our director's passing us notes, guys. So if you see us being awesome, yeah, that's right.
Oh, so I'm slouching.
Keep it classy, Twitch. Keep it classy.
That's actually where he's the slouch isn't because of a nickname change. It's not going to be Grouch anymore.
Yeah,
It's
it's
called
now
my slouch.
Great. Known as Slouch forever.
Just sit up though.
Okay. Water Trident. So this goes
Sorry.
to some of the sustainability. Why don't you talk about that stuff that we were kind of looking at?
Yeah, we felt like LE was lacking a little bit of sustain since we did hit in the past in a bunch of areas. As I said, we wanted to add regen to other weapon sets besides staff, and we felt like Water Trident was a very good place to add a supporty type skill, and it allows Condi removal through cleansing water, I believe, the tier 3 water trait, which will open up possibly more builds, maybe more of a supporty Scepter type build, help allies, goes with the theme of us wanting to increase support in the game and interaction between players.
The next one's very interesting for me. So
Yeah. Burning speed.
burning speed. What does it do now?
Well, previously you would try to burning speed into somebody, get hit in the face.
Face melted.
Great sword.
You're trying to melt their face,
Or
but
a
then they face
hammer.
melt you, right?
Let's be
Hit in the
real.
face with a hammer. Now you will be evading while you are executing burning speed. So that travel in, you're going to be avoiding your enemy's attacks. Maybe not taking that hammer in the face.
The other cool kind of thing that I at least am imagining out of it is that it's part of like a melee rotation now, right? Like even when you're in, you don't need to necessarily say, oh, I can't use my burning speed because I don't want to close. You use it like when there's a big hit coming in, right?
Sure.
When you see that like 100 blades come out, you just burning speed and like evade a bunch of it.
Yeah. And this is in efforts to help the elementalists as a dagger, wielding a dagger, have a little bit more skirmishing and capability.
Yeah.
The next change for the dagger is Frozen Burst is now a blast finisher. So you're going to be able to combo your burning speed and blast finisher with your frozen burst if you're quick, and gain a little bit of might, grant some might to your allies, or fury if you have your fire
Your
trait.
Grandmaster.
Yeah, Grandmaster trait.
Yeah, we like the interaction between combo fields and finishers, and we just felt like Frozen Burst was lacking a little bit, and we felt like it would make sense to be a blast finisher and open up some cool plays, interaction between abilities for the LE.
Ellie, so OP.
So before we move on to the next question, I just want to reiterate that these changes are not exhaustive. They're not the comprehensive list of everything that's going into the
And
patch.
some of them may go away.
Yeah, some of them may
Don't
go away.
tease,
They're-
Carl.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible.
Carl.
We're trying to do all
Don't
this.
crunch
We think
dreams.
they're
Don't
important.
crunch dreams.
Yeah.
No, these are all.
Yeah.
It's possible that would happen. I would not say it's probable that
Yes.
that would happen for these changes.
Yeah,
that
these
we're
changes-
bringing you changes that
It's
are high level,
questionable that it would happen.
cool things, but
That
these
to
are
use the,
probably good to
Football
go.
injury report term.
Are you probable for the game?
Yeah, questionable that they would be reverted. These changes are.
You know what we
likely.
should do? You know what we should do? We should also ask Twitch chat if they like the Pats or the Seahawks.
Oh,
Oh,
that is a good
Broncos.
question.
Oh man.
That could be a good question as well.
Yeah, Twitch chat.
Twitch chat, go.
Broncos or Pats?
Nobody. They're all just like,
It's
wait,
gonna be like a minute from now.
football,
Yeah,
what?
Yeah.
Sports.
Sports, what? So let's move on to the next class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like to?
Do you?
I would love
You,
to
please,
segue
yeah.
into this one.
Come on.
Also,
As an engineer main myself.
Yes.
This is gonna hurt a little bit, guys.
Oh, come on now.
It's not that bad.
It's not even that bad.
Stop trolling.
Yeah. You go ahead. You can say it, Josh.
Do you want me to say it
You
for
have
you?
the
Is it too
power.
hard? Do you want me to read it for you? Like when you get a really important mail.
So look
I think
at
you
all
should say
that.
it.
See,
I think
look
you
at
should
all
say
that
it.
It could be
stuff.
You want me to
teamwork.
deliver the news?
Yeah, teamwork.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a couple outlier abilities on engineer that are really strong. I'm gonna say this and it's gonna sound weird right when I say it, but there's a turret that needs a nerf. So I know. Let that sink in. So we're gonna reduce the immobilized duration on net turret by 1 second. And when you're thinking why does that doesn't make sense at all? Why would you nerf?
Is there a
this turret?
combo that this plays into?
There is. It's
Interesting.
if you've been supply crated, supply dropped on, you would immediately get stunned from the effect, and then you get a 3-second immobilize, which has Connie duration applied to it as well. Else you're immobilized for days, and I've probably killed you already by the time you can even get out of it. So we're gonna reduce the immobilized duration on that a little bit.
all of you.
So there's more.
Yes.
Twitch chat is empty. At that point, you've been double dropped.
Yeah.
So
I apologize. So we're gonna reduce that a little bit too. There's more counterplay to it. I mean, it is an insane combo, and I'm saying that as someone who has done it hundreds, if not thousands, of times to other people. I guess I'll take all of the nerfs.
Yeah,
I'll do it all.
Yeah, sure.
These are all your
All the
ideas, right?
reductions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was
Yeah.
Josh was like,
can do the
I really
nerfs.
want to nerf MGs. Really.
I'll take the buffs.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. No, but
Yeah,
okay.
you guys. Roy is responsible for one of these.
But no,
Maybe.
the next one that actually did have some very big things to it. I mean, I think this one's pretty justifiable for
It is. We talked about this next one a lot, and I'm sure a lot of you get. This is not going to take you guys by surprise. It's poison grenade. Right now, if you shotgun your poison grenades onto a point,
Slouch, could you please define shotgun for us before we proceed further?
if you stand on top of someone and throw all of your grenades into one spot, like a shotgun.
Oh, because you're close,
Ba-ba!
right? Okay.
Right, exactly. You got it. We're all on the same page.
I got it.
now.
Cool.
So if you shotgun all of your grenades onto one spot, it'll stack the poison fields, and it would apply those poison stacks 5-second intervals with 3 fields.
Sure.
So it would stack 15, 30, 45 every pulse, and all of a sudden, you have 60 seconds of poison on you, and it's,
Which is pretty minimal.
Yeah, it's not very much, John.
so we're doubling it, right?
Just
Yeah.
tackle it.
No, so we're gonna reduce the amount of poison applied per tick from 5 to 3,
Yeah.
which I think
It's still got the play. If you want,
does.
if you want to shotgun people, you can still shotgun them.
you
You're just not as efficient when you shotgun them.
the shotgunning play will still be available.
It's still
Rather
really
than this-
effective as well.
Right, because the skill used to read just
So-
take away all healing for your opponent for a minute.
When you blunderbuss your grenades.
Okay, blunderbuss. I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
okay.
you blunderbuss your grenades onto someone's face,
Sure.
so you'll still be able to do that for bodies when they go down or whatever you want to
be
do.
effective for zone control on points,
Yeah,
AoE
sure.
and
You just won't
PvE,
have
things like
If you
that.
get messed up, you just won't have
Josh,
a
did you
couple-
know your face was on Twitch?
I did know my face is on Twitch.
Okay.
You're
Thanks-
famous, Josh.
Thanks,
You're
Blue.
famous. Yeah, Blue. Thanks, Blue.
That's actually my old when I first came here when I first
That was
moved
your
here.
haircut.
That was
I had-
before when you had best hair in A. Wow.
When I had the sides shaved. Blue stole it off of the live stream that we did for the PAX preliminaries
Yeah.
and threw it onto live stream. So thank you.
Yeah, once it's on the internet.
All right.
Carl knows.
All right.
Yeah.
This one's Roy's.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep moving. Keep moving.
Okay.
This stuff's good though. There's good.
So on Toolkit, you have Box of Nails. We felt like the cast time was a little bit too long. It was kind of sluggish. Just felt a little bit clunky to use. So we reduced the cast time of Box of Nails from 1 second to 3-4 seconds. This also applies to Box of Piranhas, which is the underwater version. Gotta watch out for those piranhas.
Yes.
We just aim to make it a little more fluid playing. 3/4 of a second, still a decent cast, but we think it feels a bunch better. We also looked at AED because
this
it's
came
been
came
brought
from
up.
the forums.
Yeah,
So
it's
this
been
is-
brought up on the forums.
This was your
a lot.
feedback, so for this one.
We looked at making
So
tweaks.
I blame you. Let's find someone like it's like this is
Fluff time.
McScamper's fault.
McScamper.
Yeah.
McScamper, this is because
Because
of
he
you.
must have balanced the game, but now he's done it.
Yeah.
Way to go, Dante
um,
SSP.
But we
Yeah.
didn't want to hit too many areas of the skill at
Sure.
once. We want to just reduce, buff it up a little bit at a time until we see him play. We don't want to make a drastic swing of things. So we did kind of a similar thing. We reduced the cast time from 1 second to 3/4 of a second to see if it would help get off in those clutch situations, things like that.
Yeah, we debated a lot between 3/4 and half second, and we're playing with it at 3/4 right now, and we're gonna see.
Yeah, there's still a
and
chance
also,
it
I
could
want to
change.
mention that for future, all following nerfs were things that were suggested to us by Helseth.
Oh,
Oh, shots
Boom.
fired.
yeah.
Let's keep going.
Asterisk,
Alright.
you McScamper.
20 minutes. 20 minutes. Let's keep going.
Anyway, yeah.
Let's
do it.
on to Guardian.
All right, the Guardian.
Following suit with the changes to AED from the engineer, Litany of Wrath has been reduced in cast time by a quarter second, so it's now 3/4 second. It'll be a little bit easier to get off, so you can get that healing power going faster. Get your DPS rolling.
And again, this is one of those where we debated trying just 0.5 seconds, but we want to try these things first at 3/4 in this instance, and then maybe go to a 0.5 later if we feel like it's still needed. So.
Right, yeah. Because these are both very reactionary type skills that you want to use like right away. For example, this one you want to use and start hitting the person right away. So we felt like 1 second was just too long of a delay.
Yep.
Because there's already play where like you can dodge or something can move out of your range, then you won't get heals from the heal as well.
Next up, we have Vigorous Precision. As you guys have probably noticed, the other Vigor skills that have been on crit were changed last update, to have about a 50% uptime. Therefore, for this update, we're going to continue with that and take the Guardian's Vigor on crit up from 5 seconds to 10 seconds on cooldown.
Recharge.
Yep.
You're still going to get 5 seconds of Vigor, but it'll be every 10 seconds you can get it.
So it'll be about
all is not
50%
vain.
uptime.
All is not vain.
All is not vain.
Yeah.
There is.
Hold on.
Grab that boon duration.
Get ready, guys, because
Yeah. Also-
Carl's got something pretty sweet coming up.
Yeah.
The Healing Breeze has been rescaled so that the Guardian receives 50% of the heal near the start of the heal, and then heals for 10% for 5 ticks on allies in a cone.
That
So,
means
It
half.
also
of them.
heals the Guardian as well for that amount.
Did we do 50 or did we end up doing 40, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12?
It's
Do you remember?
50, 10, 10.
I thought it was
Okay.
50, yeah.
Okay.
And here we're thinking more supporty stuff for that.
Oh, God.
We have to wear this one.
This is for you.
This is for you.
Okay. No, I'm
Just
not.
wear like a bib.
I brought this nice.
You look great.
John is a
Thank you.
12.
Go Hawks!
Nice, Mark.
That's Martin
All right.
Kirstein, Ruby Bear.
Guest appearance.
Yeah, so really like very, very supporty heal here. You know, this is I think like when I looked at it, like my brain is not
it was
thinking
more
correctly. I
difficult
think
than
we're
the
like
past.
talking about 3,800.
The
Or
base is
4,000.
about the same, so it's split around like 3,300 at the beginning of the cast, and it splits up the 3,300 over 5 ticks to yourself and allies. So
Before it
it's
was-
basically double the ally heal.
Yeah.
Right,
for
right. The
allies.
big thing is that the ticks scale really well with healing power.
Yes,
So that
as
the
well.
supportive half of this heal scales really well with healing power. And I think it's in the 4,500s.
Yeah, it goes
something
up
like
to
that.
about 4,500
Yeah,
for
something-
yourself and allies,
So,
so it
yeah.
increases support.
Let's also.
in
So what
group
we're trying to
play.
do there is we're also trying to get some support, but we also realize that shelter is a very, very strong skill. So
Yeah,
even if you
absolutely.
take shelter, you are a very, very, very tanky guardian. You can still support other people, but we wanted to try some other heals without making them too crazy to try to like just take.
Yeah. And we
shelter
don't want to
away,
make
right?
and we don't
do
want to
that.
make Healing Breeze like this like as good of a self heal. Like if it's going to have all the support, like we want to make that choice, right?
This
Yeah.
also helps solve the problem where right
If you
now
got
if you get
interrupted.
interrupted, you lose like 90% of your heal right at the start, and now at least you'll have 50% of it right up front, so you
Yep,
at least
right.
get something out of the heal.
Yeah. Okay. So Vigorous Precision was the Guardian thing. How about our next professional? Let's talk about Mesmer.
Mesmer. Purple.
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 Chap's favorite color.
You could deal with this
John-
critical infusion change,
Let's
John.
go, Chap.
No, this is a Carl thing. Okay. Critical infusion. Increase the recharge from 5 seconds to 10 seconds. Now, why is this important, Carl?
Because dodging is very prevalent in the game.
It is.
And if you take these minor traits, you have an incredible amount of dodging capability with very little investment. So we would like to make you invest just a little bit more, like grab a little bit of boon duration, find an alternative source of vigor. Maybe you have a rune set that gives you vigor on heal,
Sure.
or something like that.
And also,
just to
I was gonna say they're also like 5-point trades, so
Yes,
you
they're
have to invest very little to actually get these for like 50% vigor uptime.
Yeah.
They're very strong.
In addition, like this is also like critical infusion also couples really well with deceptive evasion. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which creates a clone on dodge, and that in turn it increases the Mesmer's overall damage output through shattering or dissipation or whichever traits you might choose.
So this is your specialty, right? Right, Josh?
Yes.
Deceptive evasion. You did.
Yeah,
You were the
come
one.
on,
You were the one who brought it up.
Whoa!
I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
Josh, you were the one who
under-
got me to change it. I mean,
We're just kidding. This is a big problem with this trait. Basically, being able to dodge this off and create a clones and get all the procs off of clone death. And so we're making it so that deceptive evasion is only going to create a clone when you don't have clones out already, because it also kind of disrupts the flow of your clones. So there's basically you were either cheesing it or you were having it disrupt the flow of your gameplay,
Yeah,
and it
possibly.
wasn't really serving like non-cheesing or feeling broken
yeah, 'cause
moment.
it could
so-
replace your phantasms as well.
Right.
They're out
Yeah.
when you want.
No, because it's a clone.
Yeah.
But it did
Sure.
but it just like you have a clone, it's attacking, you're there, it's like changing all your positioning, and so if you're full clones, we're not gonna create anyone. Necro?
Necromancer. So
Yeah.
Putrid Explosion used to be unblockable, is now no longer unblockable. Carl, I remember you talking
No,
about this one.
why is this?
Well,
Yeah,
I
why
mean,
is this?
Why is this?
so,
it didn't make
I mean,
sense for one thing.
the whole all these minions and they're timing out and exploding at the same time, and you can't even block it.
Yeah.
And as soon as we realized like, well, why can't you block it? Why is this
the
unblockable?
skill
This is the skill
for the bone minions.
Yeah.
Right. But just like all things like this, it was like,
Yep.
why are these unblockable? It was just we began talking about it and realized like the number of unblockable things in the game, they need to be very clear and very
Very small too.
Yeah.
it's like a subset that's already like understandable and makes sense. So this is kind of how this ended up happening, is that it's really not clear, and it's really just adding to the unblockable bloat and taking away from the counterplay of using those blocks.
Yeah.
So
And it was a big spike skill, and we felt like there was no play since you couldn't actually block it.
Yeah, you want you to have the
There's no
counterplay
wind
there.
up to it at all. Like
Yeah.
the creature gets to you and it's like, well, is it going to explode? I don't know.
yeah, counterplay. Yeah.
Training of the Master. This was reducing the damage increase. This is a trait to minions from 30% to 25%. This is really small. We wanted to do a little bitty change here, but also with the sigil stuff, with the rune stuff coming in, we had to be really careful with that. And already the minion master build in some game types is extremely powerful as it is.
Yeah.
So the next one, moving right along.
Why don't you want me to take this since
Sure.
Yeah.
you guys like
I-
to blame
go
me
for
for
it.
this? So.
this has been many months in the
Yeah.
making. Ready? So we're going to be changing Doomfire and how Doomfire works. We know that a lot of
You
you
should
guys.
have like a little pause for let everyone
Oh, yeah, sorry.
speculate for a
Sink in.
second.
Let it
Let
sink
go.
Yeah.
Changing Doomfire so that it doesn't just throw out a lot and lots of burning DPS.
And uncontrolled and
Passively.
And I know you guys like to say passive. Passive is like the your guys' buzzword for this. Ours is not skillful.
Yes.
Like passive is not really a problem, like because it's and we're just
Right.
using the words differently. But for us, the problem is when it's not skillful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like this. There was not skillful gameplay here, and we want there to be skillful gameplay, right? So, anyway,
So we're changing
with that
to.
being said,
I think Roy should be able to
okay,
talk about that one.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Sure. So we wanted to put it on a place where you could actively control when it procs, use it. Players can more accurately predict it. So
Also,
what
we wanted to unsplit it.
Yes.
Yeah,
also
PvP.
unsplitting it between PvP and PvE
Yep.
is part of this change. So what we made it do was make your Life Blast and Death Shroud apply the burning, basically for 3 seconds with a 10-second cooldown, so that you can control it by like saying, oh, I just loaded this guy up with condies, I want to add burning to him, so you toggle into Death Shroud, use Life Blast, burn him, and continue to spike. And then people can know that you enter Death Shroud, use Life Blast, they can expect it to proc, and you have more control over when you're applying it.
They also know stuff like terror is about to come
Yeah.
because you've already gone into Death Shroud anyway, so they know that stuff's about to happen. So they can start to think about that and play more intelligently.
And actually, right, like
against
you're gonna be
as a
able to
necro.
see it, like come out and
Yeah.
make and dodge it, right, and like have
It's actually gonna be a different effect
counterplay
for
to
the-
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot more counterplay, play with it, it's more predictable. You have more control over it as a necro of when you actually want to use that burning proc. We just think it's a really good overall change for the game.
Yep. Oh, the last one, Vampiric. You want to talk about that? Real
Vampiric
quick?
Master used to, like, currently it's, in the previous update, let's see, we said that it was going to be reduced in effectiveness, and that change ended up having to be reverted, I believe.
Yep.
because of its scaling properties. It doesn't really scale all that well, or it can't scale. So we're probably going to be taking that back down to its intended state, which is about like, I'm not sure the percentage-wise.
Yeah, but
It's like-
but the desire behind that is to make it so
Yeah,
that
to reduce
necros
the
can
actual,
sustain themselves with some of that stuff, but it's not way
Reducing
too good.
the actual sustain from Vampiric
Yep.
Master would be the result.
Okay.
All right, so I guess we'll move on to Ranger. I'm gonna let you guys handle these ones because I know that some of these are still iffy,
Yeah.
and that have not been
Yeah.
implemented yet. So feel free to take it away.
Sure. I can take some of these anyway. So, like, Spirit of Nature.
Yeah.
Right now, Spirit of Nature says it heals for 320 every 3 seconds.
Yeah.
It's what it
Yeah.
says. It actually heals for 480 per second.
Due to a bug.
Due to a bug.
There's
So-
a bug with how the spirit generates its stats, but we don't want to make it. It should be 320 every 3 seconds because we think that's actually not very effective. We think the right number, and we're going to update it, and this is what we're aiming for this build is, and to update the tooltip too, is to have it be 320, but 320 per second. So, I mean, Spirit of Nature is basically the equivalent of saying I just gave everyone on my team heal sig.
On
then
top of
and,
rezzing.
and then some.
On top
and
of
it's a
rezzing.
res skill.
Yeah.
And a condition clear.
And a condition clear.
It's very, very
So basically, the other Ranger elites are actually interesting and can have some good play, and we can see some different Rangers with them. And I'd like to still see the spirit, and so 320 health per second, that's what we think the right number is, but that's kind of a thing that we're definitely still zeroing in on. And
It's still incredibly strong as
It-
well,
yeah,
on top
it
of
is.
the other effects the
It
Spirit
is.
has.
And then the second one is we're talking about adding a field type to all of the traps,
Cool.
but it will kind of we'll see. We feel like there's something some amount of interest to like bring all the traps into like that play of hey, I'm a trapper with offhand horn or comboing with other people who have combo fields or my leaps. So
Yeah, right now 2 of them are combo fields, and actually was messing around with it today. Did add Poison Field to Viper's Nest.
right.
Well,
So like
which
yeah,
makes
that's what I
sense.
mean. Like add the combo fields to the different traps. So that's what we're working on. No.
Also, that's
Yeah.
that was a big bug to fix as well. For the bond.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So talk about that one.
Yeah,
too,
we should get to that, yeah, for sure.
So Empathetic Bond was removing conditions from the Ranger even when the pet was dead. So that's going to be a big bug fix that we're doing, so that it'll actually check to see if you have an active pet currently to remove pets from, so it's not just pulling conditions from you even if your pet's dead. So there's still play to killing the Ranger's pet so he can't remove conditions from himself.
Yep.
With
I
his
feel
trait.
like we've only talked about reductions for the Ranger. We should say something
Positive.
positive about the Rangers.
Well, as we
because
said earlier too, these are the things we wanted
These-
you guys. These are high level bullet points. There's a lot of other stuff we haven't talked about because we only have 7 minutes.
there's some pretty amazing stuff coming for the Ranger. That's
Yeah.
fair to say.
Yeah.
And we're really looking forward to it, but we can't quite say what it is just yet.
Yeah, and for every other profession as well.
Yes. And with the sigils and with the runes and with the crit damage, we didn't want it to go too crazy with balance for this set of changes. There's also some other stuff that we had to factor in, which we can't talk about too much yet. But
Yep.
other things that are awesome are coming later. But for this patch, we wanted to slow it down and control these changes because the other changes were going to be so big.
And
for the
by
sigil
later,
runes.
they're still in this patch. We're just not talking about them.
Yeah,
this
we just
patch
can't
yet.
talk about everything just yet.
And that being said, like, don't think we can quite get it in for this patch, but we are making steps towards the main hand sword issue of not being able to dodge when using the
Animations and
It's
whatnot.
there's the way, just to give you guys some detail, is that the whole system of like communicating with the server and how skills work and how they say what can and
Real
can't be
quick,
used.
why don't you
That's
talk?
a
So
little
we're talking about the chain, which is the first skill on your bar if you have a sword equipped in your main hand and you're a ranger.
Right. So this, it's an MMO. It's an online game. There's hundreds of players. A lot of this is like there's skills being sent to the server and validation. We don't, keeping people from cheating and hacking and the way all of those things and like orders are handled by the server of like now execute a skill. Now you can dodge. Now you can't. Now you're supposed to be able to move. Now you're not supposed to be able to. That's a very, very complex interaction. And so that is actually what causes the inability to dodge during that time. And so in order to fix that,
Sorry, keep going. I'm just typing.
He's just talking to chat.
We're distracting, John.
Okay, so in
Sit
order to
down.
fix that, right, like we have to look at that whole system, and
Right.
that we are, and my point is that we are looking at that. So people, there's something coming here, there. So yeah, let's talk thief, because we got
All right,
two more.
so thief. All right, let's jump to thief. They have a lot of good things we can't talk about too much yet, but one big thing we knew we needed to talk about here was
Sort of similar to ye old poison grenade.
Yes.
Choking gas, not surprisingly.
Yeah.
5 seconds of poison per pulse, no cooldown, just absolute, poison spamming machine. This is also going to 3 seconds.
Yeah, down from 5.
Down from
Down from
5,
five.
yeah. And I saw some talk about pistol whip and we've been talking a lot about trying to do with pistol whip what we've done with flanking strike, where we
Yeah.
split it into 2 skills and they each have initiative cost, and you can get the stun for the cheap initiative cost, or you can hold and do the stun, and when do you use the evade, because now you have time and you can time it more. And
Right.
that's the thing that we would like to see there, that I'm not sure we'll get to for this patch, but we'd like to, because I think that will kind of create much more diversity in how you can use that skill as well.
Yeah.
okay. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So jump right to
Doing good.
warrior.
Yeah,
We can go
let's
over
hit
too.
warrior.
Who wants to be the
I'll do it.
Oh, are you sure?
But I mean,
This is
I'll
the
do it.
positive one.
warrior.
So you
No,
get
no,
to
no.
be a hero.
Is,
Whoa,
this
hey,
positive?
hey.
It's
Yeah,
not
I made-
positive.
it's a
I made the
negative.
change.
No, it's a
A lot
negative
of people
positive.
play warrior.
Hey, I play warrior too.
Okay, fine.
I think everyone plays warriors.
Yeah,
I
go
play
ahead.
everything.
I guess
Okay.
you need to get a little bit more somber about this. Quit giggling.
Yeah. Okay.
So, warrior, it's been a controversial thing. We know healing signet, it's really, really strong right now in a bunch of ways. So we realize the passive is extremely high. And
So we're gonna double the passive.
Yes, exactly. No, we don't want to over nerf something, as we've said before. We're just looking at shaving things to bring back in line. So with healing signet, we have reduced the passive slightly. We're reducing it by about 8%. We're still playing with the numbers, but we are also looking at improving the active, so you actually have a reason to push the active, because right now
Right.
there's absolutely zero reason to ever push the active.
For
with a
those of
skill.
you that don't do math, that's about 30 health per second
Yeah.
reduction. And yeah. And we really, really, really are intending to change the passive, because the active. Because like we said before, with passive versus skillful play, it's okay that there's this passive healing signet. That's what signets are. But signets do have a lot of skillful play when the active matters. And so to me, this is one of the most distressing skills in the game, because you look at it and say, if I watch a bad player playing with this, if I see their hand going towards them, no, don't press that button, even though we gave it to you to press, which is sort of one of the worst things. So we're really, really pushing hard to figure out what is the correct thing to do with the active. And the active isn't necessarily going to get buffed in the sense that it's going to be better. It's going to get buffed in the sense that it's going to serve a purpose.
Yeah.
So that
So a functionality change.
Yeah, a functionality change, so that it's not just hey, it's going to heal for more, and then it's should I heal or heal for more? We want it to be hey, there are situations where I want to use this, and that makes it interesting and creates some skillful gameplay, right? So.
Sure.
And they're
Sure.
we don't want to
Sure.
we don't want to waste it too much.
So and we also
have a pretty good.
also let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
We talked a long time about where we wanted the warrior to be overall. We don't mind them being. You look at the dogged march. You look at the cleansing ire. You look at the passive heal that they get from this. You look at some of the block stuff they get from their offhands. For instance, sword is really big right now. All that type of defense, as well as having vigor stuff, being able to heal themselves with shouts if they need to. They have a lot of different ways that they can take care of themselves and be really sturdy. We want to maintain that, but we want to also be careful and kind of bring the offense down a little bit if we need to. So that's something that we're watching really closely. We're not saying we're going to do that yet, but we want to make sure that we don't make them become too frail, but keep all the offense, because we want them, if they're going to be standing next to the Guardian as the two guys that you want to put in the middle of a dungeon or War v World or PvP, you want to have those strong, sturdy, heavy armor targets. This is one of the two. So we want to make sure we don't vitiate the defense too much when we make these changes. So
So gonna steal the next one.
Go for it.
Really quick, since like everyone is like, hey, 30 HPS is nothing. Like 30 HPS is almost the difference between this skill being equivalent in HPS to Surge, at which like at the point at which it's worse than Surge in HPS, it's actually not even a skill anymore in the game. So. Like this skill, this needs to fulfill this role, and it just needs to have that active moment of actually when to use it that is going to make it an interesting skill.
I mean, if we incentivize players actually activating the skill, then passive goes away.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point behind that logic. I just want to make sure the chat's aware of that.
Yep.
So we mentioned before with like Doomfire wanting to add counterplay to certain abilities. So that's where we're kind of coming with the next one. Pin down. If you've been hit by it before, you're probably aware.
What is pin down and where does it exist?
Thank you, Chap. This is why we brought you along. So pin down is the longbow 5 on warrior, and it applies a 3-second immobilize and 6 stacks of bleeds for 12 seconds.
Yep.
A long time.
25-second cooldown.
The bleeds are about equivalent to eruption on the elementalist staff.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
although it's single target.
So we wanted to add counterplay essentially because I've been hit by pin down. We've all been hit by pin down, I'm sure, and there's not a lot of animation to it. It's hard to see when it lands. So what we're gonna do is add a new warm up effect to it, so you can actually see when the warrior. You want to give us a little? You want to do the thing for us?
Like, so right, you've got the like little white swirly arrow, and now like those swirls come into the bow, and then
It tells itself really well.
It's got a nice tell.
It looks
It's got
nice.
a nice tell.
It looks
Especially,
great.
I mean, particularly in 1v1s where I think pin down is so strong. This will be a nice tell for it that you can actually see it coming and dodge it.
You're still
obviously-
gonna have to dodge
also,
it.
in big encounters like World v. World, you can see it coming because the projectile will actually look. It's going to read.
It's
really
going to
well.
match. Yeah,
It's
the
gonna really
projectile
read.
and the effect and the warm up and the cast all match now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, on that note, so it's going from a 1/4 second cast up to 3/4. So the warm up effect will be drawn out.
Sure.
It starts from the beginning, and you'll be able to actively play against it.
Yep.
So. There's a couple abilities that we mentioned in this show today. Wanting to add more counterplay, and it's something I think we'll keep doing. But again, just to reiterate, all these changes are not exhaustive.
The
There's
big
a
thing
lot
is
more
there's
things.
just a lot more stuff. We just can't go through the entire list with only an hour.
And
There's a
also
lot
all
of
the
stuff.
interactions these have with the rune and sigil changes.
Right.
And other things we can't talk about.
Yes.
And there's also, there's a big thing we just can't talk about, but that's good. We'll be doing, I guess, blog
Yeah, well,
posts
this
and
means we
stuff
can
later.
do more stuff.
It's going to get a lot of hype behind it, so we can't talk about that yet, but as soon as that happens, you'll understand why these changes are the changes we decided to do, and you're also going to see a bigger list once the patch notes comes out. So.
Yeah.
So that pretty much wraps up this part. I'm going to do a couple real quick reminders for upcoming events and things to look out for. So today, obviously, is World v. World Reset.
Yep.
If you didn't know that in your World v. Worlder, well, there's your reminder.
Have at it.
Next Tuesday is the Origins of Madness Living World release. So be sure to check that out for the next chapter of whatever Scarlet's up to and whatnot. We do have some PvP events. So one of these is recurring. ESL happens every Thursday at 11 a.m. PST.
Yep.
And that is open sign up for European players. So if you've got a team, if you just want to throw 5 guys together, go play. You guys are...
Or girls.
Or girls.
Or dogs, cats. Everybody's invited.
If they can push buttons on a keyboard, just whatever, it all works. Anyways, that's open sign up, and there are gem prizes. You guys can win some cool whatever you want off the gem store.
Sure.
Whatever. I think today and tomorrow there's the ESL Bloody Tech GBG style tournament. I think they actually already had the first part of that today. Pretty exciting stuff. I
It
think
was
they're doing.
Yeah.
That was the
some-
6v6 tourney, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
stuff.
Um,
I saw a support staff elementalist being played by Fenteram.
Oh,
It's pretty interesting.
well, it is interesting.
Lots
I
of
mean,
cleansing.
the more
That
positions you have on your
extra
team, the more
player, yeah.
the more you can bring more variety to the team. For EU players, Champions of the Mist comes up on January 24th. The Good Fights Invitational on NA is January 25th, and that's going to include a lot of European teams as well. On February 1st will be the VVV Kings of the Mist tournament. I believe the registration for that is still open. If you guys are interested in that, you can find details on all these tournaments on the PvP events forum, on the official Guild Wars 2 forum.
And then 2 days later, Pat's in the Super Bowl.
I'm not sure about that one. Sorry. Where's Martin? He's got you cheering for you. He's waiting outside,
What?
I'm sure.
Beast mode.
So that's about it for us. We've got a short clip to lead us out here. There was a 2v2 tournament last weekend. actually participated myself and made it to the loser bracket finals, and then got absolutely destroyed. You will see me get absolutely bodied in this video, I believe. Cade insta-gived me. It was great. So yeah, Ruby's gonna turn that on for us. Big thanks to Ruby for
Yay, Ruby, thank you.
officiating or producing or whatever you want to call it today. Thank you, Ruby.
Welcome.
Anyways, guys, thanks for watching.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for coming.
Once more, it's going to switch back over to Waggle Waggle as well. Prax did pop.
Oh my god,
kill shot coming in again! Under Prax, taking him into the house. Knockback there from Prax. They're going to get him back up, maybe. Oh, let's see. Not enough cleave there from Sugar Blasters. He got knocked back. Book coming out here as well, but has no stability. He's not going to be able to channel that Light of Deliverance there now. And as we're going to see, he's chasing him so hard. But Waggle Waggle, look at how low he is. Waggle Waggle going into the downstage. Sugar Blaster, he's got to change course. Got to save his teammate. Mouse getting interrupted there on the stop process. Prax as well channeling the Light of Deliverance. Let's see though, they got Waggle back up though because that Prax was not able to do any damage to his opponents, and they managed to get Waggle back up. And again, Waggle being CC'd at 3.9k Mighty Blow crit. They're onto Waggle. Waggle will take him back into the downstate once more. Sugar Blaster gonna come in, trying to save his teammate. Another interrupt there going off onto Mouse. It's not over just yet. We'll have to see. Wiggle Waggle almost back up, but now Sugar Blaster taking too much damage. Another stomp coming in. Sugar Blaster just trying to cleave from afar. Look at this. Sugar Blaster trying so hard to get his teammate back up, but the cleave is just too much. And now Sugar Blaster will going into the downstate, and with that we are going to be seeing Death of MMYR take the 2-0. And you can see the bundle being thrown down, but he can't see the circles of them or anything, so Tron really is going to have to watch out for that. He is going into the downstate now, though, and they're going to be attempting to stop Mount Agent Paradox, so taking a lot of damage in the process, but War may be able to take him down. Law taking a lot of damage here, too, so we'll have to see. Uh-oh, this could turn around real quick. Look at that Law and Paradox now, both down. They're trying to DPS.
They're stacking on each other, he can't get the rest.
He can't get the rest, he needs to click on it. He needs to click it. Tron Jeremy goes down. And now Magora in the 1v2, they managed to get him back up. And now Red Team should be, I don't know though, because Paradox is still fairly low, but
Yeah, it was a fatal mistake.
I don't know how Paradox is. He did just take him down. He's not gonna get this.
Wait,
Is he gonna get
wait,
this?
wait,
Oh my god.
wait.
Oh my god, I got it!
Dodge!
Hold
Oh
on.
my god, run!
Hold on!
Run!
Wait!
Run!
Magorum, please!
Reset.
Oh no, he walked into the trap.
No, it's fine. He can't clutch. He can't clutch.
clutched.
If he just runs, run, dude. Stop.
He's got a
stop
kite.
tanking.
Ah, he goes down. If he times that correctly, they may be able to get himself up if we do see him going down. Yeah, Idiot Marker was taken into the downstate, but they managed to get up. Cade was brought into the downstate here too, so we'll have to see.
Oh, God.
Tanny going. Oh my goodness, Tanny now in the downstate, but Cade was raised up, so we'll have to see. There's also they have to watch the cleave too here because we do have the Spirit still in play. Trying to see the Spirit's health. Let me go to an overview.
The Spirit's almost dead. The Spirit's on like 1%
dead.
left.
Oh.
It's gonna die. Double rest. Go. Go.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my
goodness.
god.
The
That's
Spirit. The cleave.
God.
The cleave was too much, and then again, Cade coming up right up out from death here. Getting a nice take this one. Winner of this matchup is going to get the last and final spot.
Grouch tried to jump over the platform and it got bassied mid-air. And now it's getting CC'd
Oh my
over and
goodness.
over. Oh my god, that's beautiful.
Powered stun though, managing to stun, but
And they got
Cade
the-
coming in
oh.
with the burst on the Grouch. Gonna take him into the downstate.
Don't kill him, please don't. You
They took him
fool!
down. They took him down. The Elixir's gonna assist. Tanny coming in for the stop level. Tanny get the stop off. Tanny gonna get the stop off now. It's not over yet. Now coming in, they're gonna have to take down nothing, but that should be a fairly simple task. No low health pools. Cade does have a Cade did have a burn tick on him, granted, but as well with him channeling these water fields or with getting the blast up on the water fields here, he should be in an okay spot. And with that, they're gonna bring it back up to 2-1. From Stealth to save the day. Vengeance is available from Nothing. He is going to pop the Vengeance. Now Cade in the downstate. They need to kill Cade over the next few seconds or Nothing is going to lose this fight. Reevesy about to go down. They have an Elixir. Reevesy with the throw an Elixir down. Nothing's going to die very shortly though. Now they're going to kill Cade. They killed him. That did not stop it. As we're going to see, Nothing goes down. Switching over to Reevesy right now. As they do try to take out Tanny. It's all between Reevesy and Tanny now.
This position in general is heavily in the favor of. Wait, that just went
going
down.
into the downstate. Again, there's no res utilities left. Tanny coming in for the stop. Can Tanny get the stop? Tanny's gonna get the stop. And with that, nothing's probably gonna go down now. Cade though does again though. Cade had the impale. He managed to cleanse it though. He had the cleanse ready for that time, so he managed to get that off. And with that, it's gonna tie the setup at 2-2. And now things are gonna get very interesting.